we can turn to the past and get so stuck in the what ifs and the shouldas and the couldas that we disappear almost completely from the world that we're in the present moment. This was very, very, very real for me. Not just the night he died. Just a week before the tragedy, we were coming home from my parents' house in Palm Desert. We sang along to the band postal service on the drive home, telling stories of the weekend, planning the week ahead. I'm careful to engineer our conversation to stay light so as to not veer into the tense territory of his physical or emotional health. Through the windshield, I spied a green swirl of the green burrito sign. Hungry? Absolutely. Let's get our burritos. A funny sentiment, our burritos. Couples have such interesting traditions. I navigate to the right lane and signal to exit onto California 243 when he speaks up. You know I'm going to die young. My stomach drops and ice-cold fear unfurls inside of me. I struggle to calm my rapid heartbeat by taking slow and deep breaths. I start chanting in my head, do not react, Kate, do not react. I pull over on the freeway ramp and stop the car. He turns to me, surprised. What are you doing? I pin him with my gaze, struggling to keep my voice from shaking. We're getting married in 2 weeks. What on earth are you talking about? Every alarm bell in my brain is going off. My hands are pulsing on the steering wheel. The image of him sprawled on my sofa, head lolled to the side with that terrifying blank stare slams into my brain. I taste bile in my throat. I've always known that I'm somebody who's going to die young, he replies casually. You'll find great love, and you will have to. You have to find great love again, and I'll always be with you. And when you find that person, I'll let you know. This happened, which is surreal. This conversation is a big part of what kept me going through the trials that were to come. But sitting on that freeway on-ramp, I don't know that they're about to begin in less than 1 week. Instead, I regress to an angry 13-year-old. Shut up, I growl. I'm dying before you, and you'll be lonely for the rest of your life after I die because you'll never find a love like yours again. And I am angry. And at the core of that anger is a deep truth of my fear. I am more scared by his certainty than I would be if he were suicidal. He looks at me, puts his hand on mine, and smiles his knowing smile. It is usually comforting, but this time it makes the pit in my stomach, an ever-present companion over the previous 18 months, yawn open, as deep as the Grand Canyon. By the time we get home, I have transcended my emotions into assertive certainty. You're going into treatment immediately. You're not going to die, not on my watch. Terrified but resolute, I slide my engagement ring off. I place it from a place where I had been for almost 2 years while I completed graduate school, and place it firmly on the counter in front of them. This is your choice, I say. You can walk out the door and this is over. If you stay, we're not going on our honeymoon after the wedding. You're going into treatment. We don't have to tell anyone, but there's no longer any other option. He looks at the ring. He looks at my face. And then he leaves. My world goes back. I hear the front door slam behind him and his car rev out of the driveway. He's calling. My legs give out beneath me and I hit the stone floor with enough noise to startle my dogs awake. They come to me and lick my face as I lie curled on the floor, dry heaving with tears streaming down my face, looking up at the ring on the counter, repeating the truth that I could not believe. He left. But then he comes back. He walks in the door and says something I will never forget. I couldn't bear you believing in me and being disappointed. Less than 1 week later, the evening of June 13th, he would drop me off his little sister's apartment and would say our goodbyes forever. That leaving moment became an experience that I replayed in Technicolor for years. That was his brain's survival response. That was his knee-jerk reaction. My brain story, that's when I should have known. But there was no other option for him. But instead I focused on that he came back. I have no way of ever knowing, in reality, what could have happened in any other reality. But that moment became a critical anchor in my brain. It became the point where I failed. I worked in addiction. I'm a psychologist. Had he not been somebody I was in love with, we never would have gotten to that point. There would have been an intervention, and he would have been in treatment months before. A reference in that story, another experience where I did find him after he overdosed. And it was an experience where 𝗥𝗏𝗏𝗫𝗏 almost died. And that time when he overdosed, he had to break through 3 locks to get to the medication that he took. He wasn't intending to. He was in pain. He was exhausted and he was stressed. That's when I should have intervened. You hear the shoulds? Our brain is amazing at holding us accountable for things that are so far outside of what we could actually do. And even knowing all the things, we loop. I looped. I became paralyzed with them. These moments that their brain continually returns to, even though they're not the moment of the loss, or what they perhaps would even consider to be a moment of traumatic encoding, they're playing a role. And that's an opportunity for us to support the system in moving through it and creating space for perspective.